Hello boys and girls, welcome back to the Player Podium. I'm your host Alfie and these are the rules. Here's a little recap for you. Up to 3 players per team can be awarded points based on individual performance. The best player receives 3 points, second best receives 2 points and the third best receives 1 point. Unless your team has not performed well, then your best performing player may receive less than 3 points. Players accumulate these points every game week and are placed on a leaderboard, which by the end of the season will give us an idea of who has been the best performing player at each club. Not necessarily the best player overall, just who's been the most important for their team, and each week one player is awarded Player of the Week. Just a little reminder for you of the lay of the land. We've got Haaland up in 11 points on his own, followed by Grealish and Yankuba Minter, who's had a bit of an underrated start to the season at Brighton, with Semenyo, Ekitike, Caicedo, Bowen and Ndiaye following in behind. We start on Friday's game with Bournemouth 3, Fulham 1. Good win for Bournemouth. It's actually quite a slow game for the most part. It really kicked off when Fulham scored in the 60th, 70th, something around that time. But I mean, a point away at Bournemouth would have been a really good result for Fulham. We didn't expect them to get anything from this game. So to go 1-0 up is positive signs for them, but you really need to be holding out, you know, at least for the point. Obviously Semenyo scored a really nice goal and was majorly influential on the creative output for Bournemouth, but even then, you know, if you want to push yourself out the table, a point away at Bournemouth is a really, really good result that will help you do that. And that's something that Fulham they really would have wanted to hold on to. But either way, good win for Bournemouth as well. I mean, in terms of the way it happened, not the most positive, I guess. They've had more convincing wins, but the win's a win at the end of the day, and 3-1 scoreline is fair enough. So, not really too many complaints. I guess you would have liked to finish it off earlier if you were a Bournemouth fan, but I mean, you got the win at the end of the day. 1 point to Cliver off the bench. Really, really nice goal that he scored, and that's the kind of impact that you want from your substitutions. A bit of a genius stroke by Iriola to get them ahead. I think that was the second goal, actually, that got them in the lead. But yeah, I mean, that's the kind of impact you want off your substitutes. So even though he didn't play the whole game, played I think half an hour around that, he's still getting on the point sheet for me. Truffert with 2 points. He's started to become more of a standout now for Bournemouth. He's been on the list a few times in the last few weeks, which is fair enough. He does deserve it. He's been playing well all season, just in some games hasn't got the recognition that he really deserves. So I think he got an assist in this game. Was all round solid for Bournemouth. So well done, Truffert gets the point. And no waiting around. It's Player of the Week already. Antoine Semenyo could have been Player of the Week week 1, but obviously we picked it by Reinders. I didn't want to give it him this week for biased reasons, but I've got to hold your hands up, man. He's been fantastic all season, and this week was no different. His first goal was just amazing. I don't know how he squeezed it in, but it's really, really good work to get into the shooting position in the first place. And his second goal was clinical. So yeah, 2 goals, 1 assist, fantastic performance, Player of the Week. Giving Chukwueze a point. He was probably Bournemouth's most exciting player off the bench. I'm not sure why he's not starting. He's a very, very talented footballer. Definitely better than Wilson, in my opinion. Obviously, Wilson's putting some decent performances already this season, but I think quality will outride form at some point. So, Chukwueze, assist off the bench, deserves to start for me. And I'm giving Semenyo 2 points. I think Robinson's not injured anymore, but Semenyon's been putting in some really, really decent performances. It's weird. Like, Robinson was the best left back in the league last year, and he can't get into the team at the moment. I don't know how. I don't expect Semenyo to keep performing at this level for long. Obviously, no disrespect to him, he's a good player, but Anthony Robinson was so good last season that I'd expect him to start getting in the team at some point. But while he's in the team at the moment, he's been doing really well. Scored the goal that put them in the lead, and overall decent performance from Semenyo. Moving on to Leeds Spurs, is a very good win for Spurs. These are the kind of games that they would have dropped points in last season away at a newly promoted team like Leeds, especially at Ellen Road, such a difficult place to go. And I mean, Newcastle went there, I think, and dropped points. So for Spurs to go there and get the win, the goals were slightly fortunate, I think, in the way that they went in, both deflected, but it doesn't really matter. You know, you scored the goals, so who really gives a shit at that point? For Leeds, it's not a bad point. Well, I say point. It's not a bad result, Farke seemed disappointed that they didn't take points out of that game. I'm not too sure about that. I think on balance it probably was a fair result. Maybe it could have been 1-1, but I think he maybe had a problem with how the goals went in. But even so, I mean, Strout's got to do better. If he's able to block it, he's got to put his whole body on the line to block the shots well enough to prevent the goals, which he didn't do. So, for me, for Farke, there can't really be too many complaints because Leeds didn't look the most progressive and the most exciting going forward. So overall, I think the result was about fair, but positives for both teams. Given Longstaff the 1 point, again really good in midfield for Leeds. He's been really consistent, really solid, really reliable for Leeds so far, and he carried that on into the Spurs game. Given Okafor 2 points, really good positioning from him to get the goal. That's the kind of goal that back post wingers love. That's a Raheem Sterling type goal. Okafor, I don't watch much Okafor outside of his appearances for Leeds. I'm not going to pretend to watch much Serie A or La Liga football, but he seems to be more of a rapid, explosive winger. But if he's getting in the positions at the back stick to hoover up those chances, it took a nick. So I'm gonna not actually blame Vicario. I've seen some Spurs fans pile on him. I don't think there's much he could have done. It took a knock and he was already diving, so he did what he could to keep it out the goal. Obviously, Okafor was there. You would hope that he'd parry it further away from the goal, but I don't really think there was much else he could have done. But it was a good position by Okafor to get the goal, got them back in the game. Could have won them a point, but Spurs' quality just shone in the end. Given Udogie 1 point, this is the kind of left back that they lack when they play Spence. Udogie is more explosive, he's more progressive. Spence is a lot more solid, in my opinion. I think Spence will put in a shift, but Udogie is capable of better performances. And I think off the left, he offered a good overlapping option. He was always there in the attacks, always wanting to provide a bit of assistance, and we haven't seen the best out of him for a bit. I think he had a lot of injury issues last season, hence why Spence came into the team anyway. But yeah, it's a good performance from Udogie. Given Matis Tell 2 points, Spurs have got so many strikers. Now they've got Tell, Kolomuani, Solanke and Richarlison, all of which could feasibly command a starting spot. So for him to score is massive. Obviously it took a nick, but it was a good enough strike that it went in anyway. And he had I think he hit the bar at 1 point as well. When he got the ball, he didn't get the ball a lot, I don't think, but when he got the ball, he looked dangerous up front, which is positive for him, for his game time's sake, and for Spurs, because it gives Thomas Frank a good headache in a sense, because he doesn't know necessarily week by week who to choose up front. Which, when you've got, I think, 4 striker options, is just too much. Obviously, I know they've got Champions League football at the same time, but it can only cause headaches. You just won't get consistent game time. So yeah, for Tell to score is big for him to put himself towards the top of the striker pecking list. And 3 points is Kudus. Just again, Spurs' best player. He's been such a breath of fresh air for Spurs. I thought Simmons was quite good in this game as well. I was considering maybe putting Simmons on the list, but I think Udogie was just a bit better. I think they've got, in terms of an attacking sense, they've got really good creative outlets there for them. Kudus off the right is always superb. I think they need to find Simmons' best position to get the most out of him. And Odobert is a bit more of a raw talent. I'm not sure. I think he's good off the bench personally, but in terms of the attacking four, I think Kudus is the standout man. They've shown why they spent the money, and yeah, another good performance from him. Arsenal 2, West Ham 0. I really don't have a lot to say about this game. It was just a good Arsenal win. West Ham didn't offer really much of anything. Arsenal maybe could have scored 1 or 2 more goals, but I think they were just comfortably the better team. That's all I really got. Nuno's still bedding his system in. When they get a run of easy fixtures, or easier fixtures, I think we start to see West Ham get other points a little bit more. But yeah, that's really everything. Good win, Arsenal. Giving Saka 1 point. I was surprised that Saka's not been on the list so far. I thought I'd given him points, but no, not by the looks of it. I think he was good off the right, as he has been when he's played. Obviously had a few injury problems, but he looked decent off the right. Penalty was converted well. There's not much else to it really. Timber was fantastic at right back again, as he has been so far this season. He's really one of the outstanding right backs in the league. I don't know if he is the best yet. I think Reece James, Munoz has been great over the last year, so I think those two would have a word. But Timber's in that conversation. He's superb week in, week out, and he's got 2 points for that performance against West Ham. And it's Declan Rice with a 3. Another brilliant marshalling midfield performance. Scored against his old club. I think he wanted to celebrate. I could see it on his face. He gave the crowd a little stare, but I would have celebrated if I were him. I don't know why he gets booed by West Ham fans anyway, but is what it is. But yeah, good performance for Rice. A big debate between him and Caicedo for the best midfielders in the league. I mean, over the last 7 weeks, I've made my feelings on Caicedo very clear, so I think you know who I'm picking in that debate. But outside of that, he's just one of the outstanding midfielders in the league. He's just so good, and he's going to be like a catalyst for Arsenal in the league while Odegaard's out injured. If Gyökeres starts to struggle up front, which he is a little bit, then Rice will really carry Arsenal forward and keep them at the top of the table, I think. The only West Ham player that I thought really offered much of anything was Paqueta. He was pretty strong in the challenge and he wanted to win the ball quite a lot, but outside of that it was just a pretty drab West Ham performance. I didn't expect them to go to the Emirates and get anything. I'll be honest, this scoreline was basically near enough what I thought was going to happen. I think I put 3-0 on my Super 6, something like that. But yeah, it's just not very good for West Ham, But yeah, it's just West Ham, again, it's just not a very nice performance. If they played excitingly, if they played well, looked like they were going to score and still lost, I'd have been more, comfortable in Nuno to start with. I guess you have to wait for him to bed in, obviously, but yeah, again, not great for West Ham, great for Arsenal. United Sunderland, this was a pretty solid United win. They looked probably the better team in the game, which is, I think, the first time we can say that about United this season, which is a positive sign. Obviously, it is Sunderland, and their good form is only going to last so long. They're going to have games like this where they lose, they go away to big teams, and they can't get the result. But that's fine, that happens. They put in a decent performance, had a few forays forward, but when they brought a Ballard on, I think they went to a 5-back or a 3-back, and it kind of took the creative spark out of the game. Not to say that Ballard was bad. I mean, you'll see in a second that he wasn't. But yeah, I was a bit unsure about that change. I didn't watch the full game, obviously, because I don't watch 3 p.m. kickoffs. But yeah, good win for United. Really getting them on a roll. I think that's 2 in a row now. So yeah, it's what you want to see if you're a United fan. This is the kind of comfortable result that you'd expect and you'd hope for, going into a game against Sunderland at Old Trafford. Sesko makes his first appearance on the list this season. Well played, well taken striker's goal. He was in the right position at the right time, something that United haven't had for a while. It's 2 goals now for him, so if he keeps getting the minutes, if he keeps starting, maybe he can get a bit of personal form going and keep United on a roll. Given Mount 2 points, he seems to be finding his feet a little bit now at United. Well, the new signings have started to struggle a little bit. They haven't been on the list for a while because they've been struggling quite a lot. I think Mbuemo and Cunha have started to slow down. I think they've had a few knocks, but that's fine. But Mount has kind of re-emerged almost as a viable attacking outlet for United, which is fair play to him. I didn't see it coming. I've kind of forgotten about him till the start of this season. I thought he would have definitely got a move away, but no, it's nice to see him actually fighting in a World Cup year. Maybe he'll be next Luke Shaw. We'll just keep it, whenever there's a tournament, he'll play really well for the season and then just vanish. 3 points go to new boy Lamens. People have been hyping up a lot after that performance. Let's calm it down a little bit. He was good. He was a lot better than Onana and Bayindir, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's a fantastic goalkeeper. He was commanding in his box, which is very positive. United have lacked that pretty severely in goalkeepers, and he kept a clean sheet, and he says he looks fairly comfortable, so it's a positive start. It is a positive start, and these are good signs. But with United keepers, you've got to reserve a bit of judgment. You've got to hold on a little bit because you don't want to get too excited and then he starts putting in poor performances. That's not what you want to happen. So, cautiously optimistic with this performance from Lemons. Giving Xhaka a point. I don't think the Sunderland performance was overall fantastic. He was one of the best of a media kind of average bunch in that game. So he gets only 1 point for me, and it's not really one that he'll probably be writing home about. See, I thought Ballard was great when he came on. I do not know why he doesn't start. He's a really good centre back, and he's performed really well to start this season. He brought him on for a dinger, I think it was. I don't know if he had an injury. I don't know if he was just playing poorly or Lebrie wanted to change his system. But I'd have just started Ballard anyway. I think Ballard's been great for Sunderland this season. I don't get why he's not, one of the first names on the team sheet. I'm not pulling any punch on Liverpool. They were awful against Chelsea. Like, you can make the slimmest argument for Gakpo with his goal. I don't know. I saw some people thought Szoboszlai was alright. I could not find one outstanding performance, one even really good performance for Liverpool in that game. They were so poor. People will say that they had a lot of the ball in Chelsea's half, but that was just the nature of the game. That wasn't necessarily down to Liverpool creating much. It was just a very end-to-end game in itself. Chelsea was so much better going forward, and defensively they just swept up. Like, Liverpool had one goal which was created well by Isak. The touch was intentional, the assist wasn't. I want to make that clear. I think he meant the touch to himself, but the touch, it was intentional. Gakpo got there first. It was a chance out of thin air, which is kind of what Liverpool have done this year. And you thought, oh, God's sake, not this again. Liverpool doing this late nonsense. But no, it was Chelsea that gave Liverpool a taste of their own medicine, and very much deserved. Chelsea were so much better than Liverpool. This is the weird thing with Chelsea. They look so good against Liverpool, and they've looked so good in some games, but then they have really flat, drab, dire games as well at the same time, and it's kind of like, these aren't the same Chelsea. This isn't the same Chelsea. But awful from Liverpool. Maresca got his subs bang on, I think. Except for I would have brought Esteval on instead of Gittins. Obviously, I know they both came on, but I'd have brought Esteval on a bit earlier. I think Garnacho did need to come off. I'd have put Neto on the left and Esteval on the right early on. But that's just me. It worked out in the end, so I'm not going to... Who am I to judge? I'm just a knobhead sat here in his room. Achimpong got a point at the start of the season, and I think he was very good in this game as well. It's a shame about the injury, because while there's a lot of injuries for Chelsea at the back at the moment, he could have got a run of games together. But I thought he was really good. I think he's really composed. I think he's quite a decent presence. He's not as built as some of the other centre backs, but he's still a tall lad, so he's decent aerially. And yeah, I just thought he was very good at the back for Chelsea. I thought Paddy Shield was actually quite good as well. I had him on my Aka to get carded, which he didn't. So thank you very much, Benoit. But yeah, I think he was a really good performance from Achimpong. This is another good young graduate that Chelsea have got, who probably is going to end up being sold for PSR reasons eventually. But I think there's a place for him in this Chelsea team if Maresca wants to play him. I'm just growing to like Esteval the more that I watch him. He's a really, really exciting player to watch, and he got in at the back post for a really well created move. Cucurella with a lovely ball across. I don't know what Robertson just fell asleep. More defensive issues for Liverpool, but yeah, Caicedo Esteval really well deserved goal, and yeah, 2 points for Esteval. I don't know if I'm just excited to speak about Caicedo again, but he's so good. That goal was just incredible. He got the ball and he was looking to shoot, and I said to my dad, he's going to shoot here. My dad was like, yeah, he is, and he just fucking nailed it into the top corner. For me, a big margin, he's the best midfielder in the league. It's ridiculous. I'm running out of things to say about him, because it's every week pretty much that he gets on the list, and I'm just have to come up with new things to say, and I just can't do it. I'm only 7 weeks in. When I get to 38, I'm just going to show you his picture and move on. But yeah, he's just such an amazing football player. So deservedly the best player in the game, and gets 3 points. Oh, we are so back. Okay, that's just Burnley, but we are incredible. Wow, what performance. We dominated for a lot of the game, I think. Um, yeah, it's really, really good stuff. It's a lot more exciting, a lot more alert. Rodgers was better. He's getting better and better. He's better against Fulham, and he was better against Burnley than that game as well. He's starting to build it up. He's got 2 assists on the board now, which is good. Not quite on the list today. There were a few outstanding players that I really want to put on. Pau Torres was incredible at centre half. Didn't get on the list, so that's why I'm talking about him now. But yeah, he's while we're missing Tielemans, he brings the he brings the forward progressive passes that we don't have on Tielemans in the team. He's always looking for one of the forward players with his passes, and most of the time they come off as well. So the ability to like bypass the midfield, lay it off, and then look for the attack is something that like we love to have while Torres in the team. Burnley they weren't too bad. They weren't forward that much. The goal was well taken. It was a good header. I think he was pretty free on the marking, which is a oversight from us. Maybe Martinez would have liked to save it because it went through his legs, I think. But yeah, Burnley did well to fight. There was a while that I thought they were going to get a second, to be honest, and I didn't like the end of the game at all. But yeah, there's some positives to take, but they aren't clinical enough in the forward sense and in the game sense. So Burnley have not seen games out very well, and they need a striker. Armando Broja's not that guy. Jadon Anti's form will run out at some point. So yeah, I think that's where Burnley need to look at. And also, I do not, on God's green earth, know how Zian Fleming did not get a red card. He deliberately moved his elbow into Buendia's face and just didn't even get a free kick. I cannot tell you how we didn't get a red for that, because that was a horrendous challenge. But yeah, we got the win, so can't be too upset. Fantastic from Bogard in the middle. He's since Leicester last season. I remember he started at right back and looked extremely shaky. But as he's got more and more game time, he's getting better and better and better, and it's so refreshing to see. He's really good in the midfield. Since Tielemans has been out, he's been getting more game time because we pushed Kamara into a bit more of a progressive role, and McGinn's been playing in the progressive role as well. So while Bogart's been the one to sit back, I think he's done a really good job of it, and he's so calm and mature on the ball. Even if his forward carries, he can be fairly explosive at times as well. While Anana does that a bit as well, so he's got that kind of Anana-esque model. He's strong in a challenge. I think he jumped in once or twice a bit too early, but that you get that with a young player. You know, he's not the finished article yet, not by a long way. But every time Lamar Bogart's played this season, I've been pretty impressed with him, and he definitely deserves a point. Kamara is a brilliant midfielder. He's one of the best in the league. Honestly, he doesn't get the respect that he deserves. Not at all. Great ball to Malen for the first goal, and all round just marshalled it. He carried the ball a little bit more because I think usually he sits, but we had Bogard sitting in the game today, so he was forward a lot more, and you know we got assist in the end, like I said. And overall, his attacking and defensive play was just outstanding. So, definitely deserving of 2 points. I so badly wanted to give Marlon the Player of the Week, and I had a case for it. I really did. But overall, I had to give it to Semenyo. But Marlon was incredible. He's so much more dynamic. Well, we look so much more dynamic when he's an option. He's really quick. He's very clinical as well. When he gets a shot, he'll either get it on target or near enough to it. And yeah, this is why the Villa fans, this is why we want him to get more game time. This is why we all shout for him to get games, because he deserves to play more. While players like Gesson and Rodgers have started a bit slowly, you know, Marlon has been given less of a chance and he's shone more. So we want Marlon. Free Marlon's been successful as of right now. We just see if it continues after the international break. I've kind of given Ogochukwu a point because he scored. Again, like I said about Kluivert, it's the impact you want from your players that you bring on. And yeah, he came on, scored the header. It was powerful enough to go under Martinez's legs, so that he couldn't close him in time. And yeah, that's all there is to it, really. Again, Dubravka, just a fantastic performance. He's been so good this season. People are not giving him enough credit. He's just like we could have been, I think 3-4-0 up at one point, but Dubravka was just great in goal, and yeah, we just could not get around him at all. Everton 2, Palace 1. Everton didn't look fantastic, I don't think, in this game. Palace really started to slow down in the second half. I think that's a European curse almost. When you games after European ones are a bit of a struggle, and you know you'd hope that they'd had the depth to let it go and just carry on, but no, it was a lazy tackle by Lacklustre to give the penalty away. That seems like a leggy challenge, and yeah, I think Everton, I don't think they were great value for the win in the end. I think towards the end they started to put more pressure on, but early on Palace should have converted a lot of the chances that they had, and I'd be disappointed if I was a Palace fan or if I was Ollie Glasner after that game. Even Charlie Alcaraz, one point, he looked really exciting off the bench. I think him and Beto were great subs that came on. Dibbling. What did I think of Billing? Dibbling and Barry weren't great, and I think they were dragged at half time. And Alcaraz and Beto made a lot of difference. Alcaraz was quite dynamic. I've kind of forgot he was at Everton. I think a lot of the other signings kind of took the limelight, but it shows that he's an exciting option for them off the bench when some of the other players aren't necessarily doing it. Jackie G got the goal in the end. I think him and Ndiaye were. This wasn't their greatest game, I don't think. But they both got on the score sheet. I think Grealish was a bit better than Ndiaye in this particular game, but Ndiaye's gone under the radar quite a bit this season. I'd like to just say that for now, but Grealish still making stuff happen, not as often as he has done in other games, and he got his goal, which you say what you want about it, but he's in the right place. He was quick to block the clearance and did it well enough to get it over the line, so fair play, gets 2 points. A sneaky little player for Everton this season, but I've given James Garner 3 points. He has a lot of crosses, a lot of opportunities that he created. Got the ball in the box plenty, and yeah, I think he was really good in this game. I think he put a really good performance again. Obviously, he won't get all the credit because there's better players that are hyped more, deservedly so, but I don't think that takes away from the performances that he's put in, and he deserves 3 points in that game personally for me. Giving Yeremy Pino a point. This is the first real game where I can... Hold on. Giving Yeremy Pino a point. This is the first real game where I can look at Pino. I can say this is the guy that's going to replace Eze. This is the exciting attacking spark that Palace... This is the next attacking spark at Palace. You know, the next one that will leave in 2 years for 70 million quid. He was kind of at the heart of a lot of stuff that Palace did. Mateta should have scored, I think, one of the chances that Pino created for him. But yeah, paid a lot of money to get him in from Spain, from Villarreal, and I think if he keeps putting in this type of performance, he'll show that he's worth the money. The goals and assists, you'll have to give him some time with that. Obviously, when foreign players come from foreign leagues into the Premier League, you expect to give him the time to settle, which I'm more than willing to give to players. So yeah, I think Pino deserves a chance to prove himself, keep putting in this type of performance, and the jail will come eventually. Ismaila Sarr gets the 2 points. I think he scored. No, he didn't. He didn't score, but I think he was involved in the goal. He was again. Him and Pino were at the forefront of basically all of the good that came from Palace, except for the man at the top. This wasn't Palace's best performance, I don't think. They did drop off at the end. I think that if they maintain their level for the whole 90, I think this would be another Palace, I'll be talking again, another solid Palace win and clinical on the counter, but it wasn't the case. Wasn't the case today. But yeah, Sarr was really good and deserves 2 points. Yeah, 3 points for Munoz. Really nice goal, really good finish. Another goal for him. I think that's 6 goals, 6 assists. this year, which is for a right back just ridiculous. FPL baller. Yeah, really well done by Munoz. And yeah, just 3 points again. Fantastic performance again from Munoz. Newcastle 2, Forest 0. Newcastle should have put the game to bed so much earlier. They had a lot of chances and Sells saved Forest's arse. Forest looked shit, to be blatantly honest with you. They looked poor. There was minimal creative spark again in the game. They've got to adapt to a whole new system, so obviously they need time to do that. But it's just not positive signs. You know, if you're a Forest fan, Talksport Forest fans are already saying Angel. I think after 7 games, that's a bit ridiculous. Like, come on now, give him the time. And if he's still poor by come January, then there's a conversation to be had. But yeah, Forest are they're struggling so much at the moment. The goals aren't flowing, the chances aren't happening, and the defensive solidity that they had last season just is completely gone. But it was a good performance by Newcastle. They should have been more clinical. I think they should have scored a few more goals. But 2-0, that's not too bad. At the end of the day, you've done worse. I've seen teams play better and score less goals. So another point for Tonali. He's been so consistent this season. They were saying, the pitch side boys were saying he's one of the best midfielders in the league, or the best. I don't think he's the best. He's one of, for me. I think he's on that podium. Caicedo, Rice, Tonali. But yeah, another fantastic performance from Tonali. Marshall in the midfield. Giving Voltemada 2 points. Everything that he did was good. He was a problem for the defence, even off the ball. He was pressing. His press was good. He won the ball back a few times. A fantastic penalty. That was really well struck. And I think you knew it's what he meant to do as well. The bollocks to put that in a 1-0 in a close game is pretty mental from the lad. But yeah, I've really liked him so far. The types of goals that he scored, 2 headers and a penalty. If you're really nitpicking, then I guess you could say that there's not a lot of like good passing build-up goals, I guess. But for me, that's not really an issue. Obviously, those goals will come at some point, but they're just playing to his strengths at the moment, which are the aerial chances. And I'm not going to fault Newcastle for that, and I'm not going to fault Voltemada for that. 3 points to Bruno G. Great performance in the midfield, as solid and aggressive as you expect him to be, and a really nicely taken goal. Yeah, it's just really well done by Bruno G. Newcastle got such a strong midfield. Like, all 3 of those are just really good players, and it's kind of like every week you could kind of blindfold yourself, point at one of the 3 and put them on the list, and fairly so, because there's always at least one of them that are performing great, this case too. So yeah, Bruno makes him tick over. Really good captain and really good player. Kind of giving Hudson-Odoi just a point because he was. Wanted to give him the point because he was like the only Nottingham Forest player that came on and provided an attacking spark. No one that started, no one else that came on really did that. So while he wasn't fantastic, I'm giving him the point for that reason. Great performance from Sells. He was so good in that game. I'm going to double check actually the stats to see how many saves he made, because from what I remember, I can pinpoint at least 6 that he made in the game. I was close, it was 7, and all of them were pretty clutch saves from what I remember. The 2 goals, just no chance. He's never going to get to either of those. If he saves either of those, then that's just disgracefully good from him. But yeah, you can't do anything if he sells. It's difficult to shine in such a poor team, but I think for the goalkeeper, because a lot of the time when you're playing badly, you can save as many as you want, but you will still lose the game because you can't get to everything. You're not Spider-Man, So it's annoying for Sells. He deserves more than this. I think he's one of Forest's only stand-up players, or the only stand-up player so far. But yeah, really poor again from Forest, and Sells is like a sweet corn in the pile of turd, if you know what I mean. Wolves 1, Brighton 1. Again, Wolves just need to hold out. Again, they could be on 6 points so far this season, but they're on 2 because they can't see the games out. Brighton, as inconsistent as I've kind of known they have been this season, again, not great. You should be beating Wolves. Every team should be beating Wolves at the moment, anyway. considering how poor they've looked to start the season. But yeah, another a draw for Wolves. This is on paper, it's a good result. Like before the game, if I said to Wolves fan, you'll draw 1-1 against Brighton, I think they'd be like, oh, okay, that's not too bad. But the way that the game went, man, you just got to convert the chances you've got and then just be defensively solid. And they just weren't. They didn't do either of those. So not great from Wolves again. But the point is positive. It's points on the board. You can't really get too upset about. Obviously, you'd rather 3 than 1, but hey, you've got to take what you can get. And Brighton, they're so weird. They're such a weird team to start this season. They've looked good in games and looked. They're like Chelsea. That's the best way I can describe them. Giving Arias a point, I do like him. He's like a bit of a bruiser. I think going forward, he'll put pressure on the centre backs and then try and score and create chances, which I like. And I think he should be starting a lot for Wolves. I think I said it the other week when he got points. I think he should be starting a lot more games, and he started again and played well. Johnson came in clutch when Wolves needed him. I don't like Johnson. He played for Villa. When the season we nearly got promoted, and then went straight to Baggies the next year, so he's a bit of a knobhead in my books. But yeah, can't ignore the fact that he played well in this game. I'm not a biased guy, so I can happily give him the 2 points. Give him Manetzi 3. Start the season well and then dropped off in the last few weeks. But that goal was... he's unlucky that Verbruggen got credited with the own goal, because it was a good save onto the bar and then obviously went in off him. But the strike was really lovely. It was really clean, really well hit. And again, Manetzi, kind of like Wolves' best player. And he wears a number 5, which I hate. 2 points are given Ayari. I do quite like Ayari. He started to really grow into that midfield role. Balaba's had a poor start to the season, and Ayari's kind of taken over a lot of the flack in the midfield, and he's doing quite a good job of it in my opinion. So yeah, he gets 2 points for that game. And the goal at the end gives Van Hecke the 3 points. He's a really good player. I really do like Van Hecke. Really versatile as well. That's positive for him. And he played well outside of the goal. Not fantastically well, but the goal really does elevate him. So while it is a bit goal biased, I can give him the 3 points. I think he does deserve it in the end. Brentford City. I would have expected City to see this one out in a more convincing fashion. I think I would have thought they'd scored a lot more goals than this. But I guess you can't complain with the win at the end of the day. Haaland kind of took the only chance he really got. They had a few chances. Foden really should have scored. I don't know how Foden didn't come away with a goal, but yeah. Rodri injured again. That is concerning. For Nico Gonzalez, it's alright. Getting the game time is positive, but just, again, injury for Rodri. I mean, begs the question, how long does he actually have left? Because ever since that ACL tear, it's been setback after setback. So, well, the result's good. That's not great. And for Brentford, this is really the best that they could have hoped for, in my opinion. There was no way they were going to get any points against City, even at home. So 1-0, and to keep them out, not too bad. I said keep them out, but they didn't. I meant in terms of holding to 1. But I've given Sharda a point because I think he put pressure on Donnarumma quite a bit and forced Donnarumma into some shaky moments. And I think he was the only Brentford player that kind of made anything in any sense. I know I said they did well. The Brentford did well to keep City down to only 1, but I don't think any of the defenders warrant any points. I think they did really poorly for Haaland's goal, and I just don't think. I think the fact that it was only 1-0 was more down to City's poor end product, more so than Brentford's good defensive performance. But outside of that, Sharda was decent, so I'm giving Sharda 1 point. Sneakily, Oscar Bobb's had a really good start to the season. I do like Bob. I think he should get a bit more game time. Another good City Academy graduate, and he gets 1 point in that game. Off the right, again, pretty dangerous. Him and Doku are a wing partnership that I do like quite a lot. And Foden really should have scored some of his chances that Bob gave to him. Haaland again, ole. But that goal, I was in the car on the way back from the Villa watching the game, and he just pushed everyone out his way. It was ridiculous. I don't think he did much in the game, but again, he got the goal, so that's all you need from Haaland, really, isn't it? 3 points are given to Gvardiol. I think he marshalled it at the back, and And also going down the left, I think he's really creatively positive. I really like Guardiola, really a lot. He's not done too much to start the season. I think he's held bench a few times, I think, but yeah, he's a really good player, and he played really well in the Brentford game, and he deserves 3 points. And here is the updated spreadsheet after 7 weeks. We're starting to zoom out quite far now. We're on 80% zoom. Haaland, breakaway man. Semenyo, Caicedo, Grealish following behind, and Minter on 11. No one's in 10 points at the moment. Ekitike slowed down a little bit, but yeah, there's a lot of names in this one. 1 point list. Players like Odegaard, Lewis Dunk. I haven't done anything for a while, and yeah, we're starting to get around. If you're about 7 points, you're doing decently. 4 points, these are players that have been good in some games for a lot of the case anyway. We're at the point we can start to generalise based on where you are. So the 1 point, the 2 point, this is where you've been okay and had a couple good performances, or you're a player that's been outshone. 3 to 4 is solid. 5 to 6 you're starting to get to players that have been pretty good to start the season, and then you got 7, 8, 9. Oh, you're out. You're probably your best players at each team, except for these lot, who have just been amazing to start the season. So yeah, and Semenyo on game week 7 gets the play of the week. So let me know if I got anything wrong. Let me know what game week Villa are going to clinch the Premier League title. And thank you very much, boys. Have a good one.